Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Jake Paul drops Anderson Silva. Jake Paul, he did what he said. It was all pleasantries in the build-up. But once they stepped in the ring, he had to F them up. He F'd them up.
Right.
Yeah, G.
I'm on roids. I'm on roids.
Yeah, G. We're going to you first, G. What was your reaction to seeing your man Anderson Silva get dropped?
Hold on. First, let me explain my experience with Xfinity. Before it's gonna get into the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight, I promise. I ordered my fight, $60, but I was like, whatever. I just click on it. But then it's like, oh, you need to call 1-800-XFINITY to verify this order. I said, to verify the order, mind you, this hasn't happened to me before for like 2 other fights. But usually you just call the 1-800 number like, yeah, this is me. I'm purchasing the fight. Bruh. In the automated thing, it's promoting the Jake Paul fight on the thing. And I'm like, yeah, I want to purchase the fight. They sent me to some shorty in India somewhere. Hello, how are you doing? And I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm trying to order this fight. Hold on 1 second. Yo, she's typing for like mad long. And I'm like, yo, shorty taking forever. So I'm like, hello, I'm trying to watch this fight like right now. The fight's ongoing. Oh, please just give me some time. And I'm just like, yo, what the hell, yo? You know what I'm saying? So I'm with Stretch. I don't know if Ned got to the crib by this time. So I'm like, yo, shorty's taking dumb long. So then she finally goes, what's the code number for your house? I'm like, I don't know that stuff. I ain't no tech expert, yo. Like, what? And she's like, hold on 1 second. Yo, she took like a half an hour to approve the order. Yo, I was so vexed. But then I was like, you know what? Let me just see if the Loma fight is about to start. I click over to ESPN Plus. Loma's fight is about to start, so I'm just going to watch this. The Loma fight ends. I switch over to Jake Paul. Tell me why they're already in the 5th round of the fight. And I'm like, yo, what the hell? And I find out it's only like 8 rounds? 8. You know what I'm saying? So I only got to see like 4 rounds of the fight.
At least you got to see Silva get dropped.
Hey, man, listen. All right, so now this is my critique of the fight. I actually thought Anderson Silva did good to a degree. I'm going to be honest. I felt like the fight was rigged. I felt like I was watching WWE, and here's why. I honestly believe Anderson was told, yo, you cannot knock out Jake Paul. There was multiple times where he could have went for the kill, and he just like stopped, hesitated, did nothing, or he only attacked the body, and that was it. And I'm like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? And I remember with the Tyrone Woodley fight, I don't know if it was the first or the second one. Same thing happened where I'm like, why ain't Tyrone going for the kill? Tyrone just like kind of hesitated. And I'm just like, yo, is Jake Paul paying these MMA dudes just so they can lose? You know what I mean? And I know this is my conspiracy theory, but hey, I'm sticking to it. I can admit, Jake Paul, salute to you. You won, if that's a victory. But it wasn't spectacular, like this dude is an old head, you know what I'm saying? The dude's like 47, he might as well be 50, you know what I'm saying? Like Anderson Silva did hit this guy with some good, decent shots. Jake Paul landed ferocious punches on Anderson Silva, and he ate most of them. It wasn't until the last round where Anderson kind of was like, all right, let me just go for it. And they exchanged, and then Jake Paul like clipped him, and then Anderson fell. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, yo. Like, hey, he got dropped, but he immediately got back up. It was like he ate that like a Scooby snack. It was nothing. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Jake Paul. The fight was boring. I'm gonna find a way if I could get my money back. I'm trying to get something. You know what I mean? Like at least a credit or something. But yeah, like nobody wants to see Jake Paul fight Canelo. He called out Canelo after the fight. That was outrageous. Watch your mouth. Nate Diaz, I guess that makes sense because he's just running through all of these retired MMA guys. So I guess his next fight is Nate Diaz. But I promise you, I'm not gonna pay for that fight. I think this is all a hustle. What's his name? Suleiman. You should be ashamed of yourself. Like you gotta feed the streets something better than this. This was outrageous. And yeah, man. But salute to Jake Paul's hustle. But I'm no longer supporting it. That's a fact.
All right, dollar bill.
We told you, G. We told you, G.
Hey man, listen. Y'all were making it seem like Anderson was gonna get body bagged.
He did.
Nah, he didn't get body bagged. No,
He didn't get body bagged.
Nah, he didn't. No, he didn't.
G.
It looked like one of the martial arts movies.
I'm gonna say it like this.
There was
no way that Anderson Silva had a chance. Shout out to my man Andrew. He wanted me to watch this fight with him so bad because he's an MMA guy. And he was saying how, Anderson Silva is different. He's a striker, and he was bringing up the fact of the Julio Cesar and the Ortiz. And I had to explain to him the same way I explained to y'all on this show. Look, this was a real fight that Jake Paul set up, right? And when you set up a fight, you're going to set it up that that you have the advantages to win, right?
Like steroids. You can't punch me in my face.
He was not on steroids, G.
Nah.
Why he got to be on steroids, G?
He didn't test dirty.
Because he effed them up.
Huh?
I was like,
Jake Paul is picking people that he know he can win. I don't know if he's getting a medical report on these guys before he chooses them, but it's all guys that he knows that he can win. We know that all the injuries and everything, especially, it wasn't more of the shot. It was more of being tired. And Anderson Silva is a great fighter in the MMA. This is boxing. This young man has been boxing. All he's been doing is boxing. He hasn't been kicking. He hasn't been grappling. He hasn't been doing anything else, rolling around. He hasn't been doing nothing. He's just been boxing. That was his advantages over an older MMA guy with tons of injuries. What's up, G?
All right, I'm going to ask a stupid question, but
no question.
I'll pose this anyways. Who y'all got? Jake Paul versus Ali's grandson.
Stop it.
I was just joking.
Nah, but yeah, I just feel like Jake Paul has the cheat code. And he has a lot of people that's backing him and his fans. You got to see for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving Jake Paul his props. Because to still be able to go in there and beat up on these old MMA guys, he's still dedicating himself to this sport. He's still trying to learn. He's still putting himself around other boxers. And like other people said, like he's really trying to take this thing serious. So shout outs to him. But there was no way that I ever thought that Anderson Silva would beat this kid, especially because I'm looking at it like he's picking. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Now it seems like more of a he knew what he was doing with Rodman Jr. He knew what he was doing. That was too much. Now bring on Nate Diaz. That's what he's gonna do. But if Nate Diaz don't have, something wrong with him or a shoulder injury or something, he might have to wait a couple years for that fight. Like he waited for the Anderson Silva fight. Supposed to happen 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's smart business. Can't get mad at him. But Jake Paul does got bringing eyes and ears to the sport, new eyes and ears to the sport, and he's bringing up conversations. You know what I'm saying? And look, I can see later on down the road, if he keeps on doing this with these guys, beating these guys, I can see down the road Canelo entertaining this as an exhibition fight when Canelo is, about to leave the sport. If Jake is still doing this, why not snatch an easy bag on the way out? At first, Canelo used to be like, nah. Now Canelo's like, well, we'll see, we'll see if the money's right,
My TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I thought this fight was trash. It was so trash. I said it earlier. I won't ever support Jake Paul's fights again, which I didn't. But because of my podcast, because of the Boxing Bros, I had to do my due diligence and make sure I was able to speak on this fight. I'm gonna be real with y'all. After the first 2 rounds where Anderson wasn't throwing no punches and they were just running around the ring hugging, I was like, yo, it's the fix is in. And after the 3rd round, I turned it off. I was like, I'm not supporting this man no more. I'm clear. I am not supporting this man no more. I was like, I'm not about to waste my time watching him knock out another MMA fighter that he signed. What's up, G?
You're saying you watched the first 2 rounds and then you turned it off on the 3rd?
After the 3rd.
Did you pay for this?
I watched the first. No, I didn't pay for this fight.
Oh, okay. All right. So why you talking about foot talk? You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about I'm not supporting Jake Paul no more until I get a big name in the fight.
Pick it on that, G.
I'll just pose a question.
Pick it on that, G.
I'm like,
He's supporting him with his eyes.
You
G.
paid
He's
$60
supporting him with his eyes, G.
Like, I'm like,
Nah, I ain't paid for this fight. G. When I was at your crib, you know,
I'm gonna stop pirating your fights. Thank you.
The Browns were calling, so I had to leave G's crib. But
the what was calling?
The Browns.
But,
yeah.
The bubble guts, huh?
Cool. But nah, I wasn't interested. This fight it seemed like Anderson came in to take to lose from round 1. It's like he wasn't testing, he wasn't seeing what was out there. And then when he would throw a punch, or when they at one point in the fight, they were holding each other and they were saying stuff in each other's ear where it didn't look vicious. And it was just like it was too much eye contact between each other. Like, yo, I'm gonna hit you like this. And one time Anderson threw a right hand, or Jake Paul threw a right hand, and then like Anderson just slipped through a perfect time. I know, yes, they're fighters, they're trained fighters, but for me, it didn't seem believable. It seemed like it was all scripted. And I'm just saying, these Jake Paul fights, every time I watch them, they look even scripted. They look more scripted than the last time. And I just can't get with it until he fight. He goes no holds bars and fights an actual fighter, a guy that actually trains boxing.
I agree with you, TB. We finally agree on something. It was a
G.
choreographed fight.
Yo, the funny thing is, G, you knew all this going in. So every little thing you're talking about right now, we kind of went over when we were discussing this. The potential that contractually Anderson Silva may not be able to knock out Jake Paul. We also discussed the fact that he was old and he wasn't the Anderson Silva you're thinking about. You're thinking about the young-looking Anderson Silva they got in video with Freddie Roach, right? When Freddie Roach was working with him. He ain't that guy. That's not who he is. He's a 47-year-old man. You dig what I'm saying? And most times, unless we're talking about B-Hop and his run for a little bit, you don't even give the 40-year-old guy a chance. Like, so boxing history hasn't been kind to 40-year-olds. You don't ask Luis Ortiz. So the point is, G, you knew all this going in. You still picked Anderson Silva. We tried to give you an out, G, and you went 10 toes down. Anderson Silva was going to beat him. So here you sit today talking about it was a choreographed fight. It was rigged. Anderson Silva's 47. You knew all this when we made our predictions, and you still picked him. You still picked him. And you wonder why Irish Boxing Bros talking trash to you. Irish Boxing Bros told you the same thing. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to Trill. You didn't listen to Irish Boxing Bros. Now you here agreeing with Ned. You see what's happening? You see what's happening? Let me run that back. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to Trill. You didn't listen to Irish Boxing Bro. Now you here agreeing with Ned. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Oh, man. Netables is out now.
We got a G pack with the Netables. You feel me? Like, so that's all. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now it brings me to this point. When I was younger, I used to see people on TV, and I thought everyone on TV was rich. Like, I would see a rapper, and I would think every rapper on TV was rich. I would see singers, and I thought every singer on TV was rich. Years have gone by as a grown man, right? I started to think like, yo, whatever happened to 702? Whatever happened to this group Subway, right? That I used to listen to. You did what I'm saying?
I
Whatever happened
want you
to
to stay,
right? And play
play this
that.
little
I'm like, yo,
game
whatever
we
happened to
play.
these people? I'm sitting there looking back. R.I.P. to my man Jesse Powell. I would probably won't know who Jesse Powell is.
Jesse
Past
Powell.
but he had that one little
That you,
nighttime banger.
that song
Do it, yo. So I used to think all these people were filthy. And then I get older and I realize not really. Like they barely make. Some of them are barely making money. Their labels making all the money, if any money, and whatever. And some of them are even going in debt, owing their labels money. So like if you go to school, right, and you go to school, some of you go in debt to get your education. Some of them are going in debt because they put out an album that didn't sell, and the label put in out all this money, invested all this money into the album, it didn't sell. So you think the label's just going to take the loss? No, the label's saying you owe me this money back. So it's crazy. So the point I'm making and how this relates to boxing is, right, some of you think just because you see a professional fighter that they're actually a good fighters. Like, so are you think because Anderson Silva was a good mixed martial artist that he's going to be a good boxer, right? You think he's a fighter, so you think that he's good. And then you see someone like Jake Paul, and you think just because he started on YouTube that he's some clown, right? Now you got to take things and put it in its proper perspective. You have to. Go ahead, TV.
I'm just saying, Anderson Silva did beat up Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez, who had to pay $100,000 because he didn't make weight and was not training properly and was doing other recreational things, and still got a split decision.
Let's talk about Julio Cesar Chavez for a second. Junior. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. lost his passion for boxing a long time ago. And if you know this, you know this. All you got to do is follow his career. Like the dude would rather be smoking weed and just chilling. I'm telling you, he heard he was fighting Anderson Silva, MMA guy, and thought, oh, great. I'll just beat this dude up real quick and make some money. Yeah. He didn't even train. And so he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which is great. Right. But what happened with Jake? And this is bringing up the point that I'm trying to make to you. You see fighters and you think they're all good fighters just because they're fighters. And that doesn't. A fighter is someone who needs to have good timing, needs to have good stamina, who needs to put in the effort to be successful on fight night. I don't care who the person is or how long they've been a professional. If they don't put in the work, they are going to give you a horrible performance. Fighters are just human. So that's the point. I don't care if it's Anderson Silva or if it's a YouTuber. If they both train hard for 8 months, but 8 weeks, some of them may need to train for 8 months, but they all train hard for 8 weeks and they step into a ring, anything can happen, yo. Because people just think fighting is just, you know why pros beat up average Joes? Because average Joes aren't in shape to go the distance. If you take an average Joe and you condition the average Joe will go in there and do all right. You see, the reason why you see these fighters beating up everyone and like the little step-up fights, they're fighting someone who has a 9 to 5, trains 1 hour a day, 2 hours max after work, right? And then moonlights as a professional fighter to supplement their income, to take care of their family. So those guys are the people who they get thrown into. Guys like Keyshawn Davis, who's an Olympic Olympian who trains 24/7, who's paid to train, whatever. He's fighting a guy who's Keyshawn Davis going into the fight that they give the guy who's working 2 jobs, they give him 1 week notice. So he got 1 week to up his training, right, to 2 hours, right? And Keyshawn been training for the last 6 weeks, right? 8 hours a day.
You got to he got to ask his job for time off.
Yeah. He has some time off, and he may need more time off depending on what happens to him.
He gotta go on a run during his lunch hour. You know what I'm saying?
And the first thing his supervisor does is say, "Okay, we're gonna give you the time off. Vegas sports book. Let me get 5,000 on Keisha." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's what happens. No, in reality, if you take two human beings and you give them the same amount of time to work out, to get a camp, it doesn't matter how much better one is than the other. They can turn in a decent performance. Doesn't mean that they're great. And I'm not trying to sit here and diss Anderson or diss anyone, but all I'm trying to say is maybe you're not giving Jake enough credit. Maybe you're giving Anderson Silva too much credit at the end of the day. Anderson Silva was great in MMA when he was younger and everything. He got in shape. He got beat up by Jake for 8 rounds. Kudos to him. He did that. But let's make no mistake. Jake got in shape. Jake trained. Jake has been training, and Jake is not training any kicks. He's not throwing no kick feints. He's been training in boxing, and he's been practicing in boxing. He's been practicing beating up these MMA fighters for years now. You understand? He hasn't got in there with any boxers. And so I'll close by saying this. Anderson Silva did all right because he's not a boxer. He's an MMA guy at the end of the day. He's 47 years old. He's well past his prime. He was never going to beat Jake. I don't think so. Based on what I saw, and G knows, I sent G the video of Silva hitting the pads, and he knows it looked horrible. He won't admit it. He knows it looked horrible. Talking about he looked like B-Hop. He looked like, please stop. He didn't look like B-Hop. Go ahead.
Hold on. I will say this. If it was a 12-round fight, I think Anderson would have won because Jake was fatigued. Like, Jake was exhausted. Like, he's in between rounds. I'm like, damn, bro, for old man.
Pursuit was like that in between rounds, but as soon as the bell sounded, she was on Katie's ass. So
yeah, that is true too.
I'm just saying, look,
Jake looked like I don't know if he could handle 12 now. I'm just
maybe,
saying.
But what I would say to you is this: like, Anderson Silva did all right, but he's not a boxer. Now let's go to Jake. Jake did well, but Jake he's gassing it too. You beat an old guy who's known for MMA, who's not a boxer. If you want, he's talking about I could walk on water and people will be saying that I can't swim. Right? Well, one, if you're walking on water, it doesn't prove you can swim. So you feel me? So great, you can walk on water. Now let me see you swim. Maybe you're walking on water because you can't swim. Now walking on water is a great feat, but that's not going to help you win the breaststroke. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to help you win the Olympic freestyle. So there's a difference. Like just because I can sprint doesn't mean I can run a marathon. Just because I can run a marathon doesn't mean I can win a sprint, right? They are two different things. So when it comes to beating these retired MMA fighters, you walk on water and you can swim. We give you that. If that's all you want to be, fine. But you can't go from Anderson Silva to calling out Canelo. Come on, man. You can't do that. You can't go from beating someone who got dropped in his first pro fight. They showed his pro record. His pro record was 3-1. Was 3-1. Anderson Silva. I didn't even look it up on BoxRec. So as a boxer, it's clear why he chose MMA over boxing. It's evident to anyone who knows something. So you can't sit here and say to us like, oh, well, why aren't you giving me no credit? Beat an actual guy who trains 24/7 for boxing. That's what we're asking you to do. Anderson
Torres
Silva.
Jr.
Yeah. Oh, who?
Torres Jr.
Oh, you talking about Uncle Rico?
No. Torres. There's a fighter.
He's a heavyweight though, Tro. He's heavyweight. Jake's a cruiserweight.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. You talk about the dude who look like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
He don't want that smoke with Uncle Rico. He don't want that smoke with Uncle Rico. Nah, but for real, you gotta fight someone who trains. This is it. And I'll just leave it at this because this is the reason why I broke it down the way I did. Until Jake beats someone who trains 24/7 in boxing, all day, every day, the way Keyshawn Davis gets to train, the way he gets to train, and who's all about boxing, I can't sit here and be like, yo, I consider Jake Paul an actual boxer. Your record, yo, bro, they literally put Nate Robinson on your list of knockouts, bro.
I thought
Nate
that was an
Robinson.
exhibition.
Then you got Le'Veon Bell, who was one of the best running backs in the NFL at one point. Great condition. His body's still in great shape. He's still in great condition. But like I said to you before, NFL and boxing is two different things. He can be great at football, walking on water, but boxing and swimming, can you swim? See, it's something completely different. Jake, until you beat an actual boxer who's in that gym 24/7, who isn't retired, who isn't old, who's active, who's doing this, everyone's going to keep saying the same thing because we see your gimmick. All you keep trying to do is distract us, and it works with G because G's the one who picked Anderson Silva. So congratulations, you got G again. You got G again. But you didn't get Trill, you didn't get me, you didn't get Irish Boxing, bro, and you're not going to get the guys who see what you're doing. Nate Diaz is the same old, same old. You're going to beat up on Nate Diaz, the drunken, we're going to get into Nate Diaz and say, you're going to beat up on Nate Diaz, and then you're going to sit there and act like you're a god again, still not fighting a guy who boxes 24/7, a guy who's active in boxing, a guy who boxes for a living. Until you beat a guy who boxes for a living, a young active fighter who boxes for a living, no second job, no second sport, no anything, you're not going to get credit from the people who really want to see you in a real fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give Tommy Morrison's son a shot. You know what I'm saying? Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing.